Hello friends, this is Worm, exactly how you would find it in my high school yearbook, and today we are talking about speculation. Speculation, yeah. In terms of the new raid that's coming next season. I'm sorry, not the new raid, the reprised raid that is coming next season. We're going to be talking about several different things, including the raid that I hope that we get, the raid that is most likely to happen, and probably like everybody's like, most voted for raid, blah, 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 whatever, and just kind of cover all the speculation and possibilities. Now, before we get started, there have been so many leaks that say, oh, it's gonna be, this raid, it's gonna be that raid, it's gonna be the other raid, like, even earlier today, I posted a post on YouTube here asking for your opinions on what you think the next raid is going to be and what you actually want, it to be, blah, blah, blah. And even there, somebody said, oh, it was X raid. It's already been leaked. Let me tell you something about leaks. None of them are confirmed. We have yet to have a single confirmed leak. Okay, so all the speculation and stuff like that, or all the leaks, all the little leaks, oh, well, it's this raid because this person leaked it. Like, what are that person's credentials? I don't really know. Okay, so let's talk about, starting off, I want to get right into the action here. I want to talk about the raid that I hope and pray that we get back, which is none other than Scourge of the Past. Now, I also want to point out that, in terms of Destiny, Bungie's track record of bringing in reprised raids, they have traditionally stuck with Destiny 1 raids. Okay, they have we have Volta Glass, we've got King's Fall. The next raid, more than likely, is going to be a Destiny 1 raid. I mean, we could talk about Destiny 2 raids. We'll talk about Destiny 2 raids in a second. But according to their track record, it's been Destiny 1 raids. So the only two Destiny 1 raids that are not present in Destiny 2 are Crota's End and Wrath of the Machine. Now, obviously, Wrath of the Machine was still to this day probably my favorite raid ever, right next to Vow of Disciple. I don't know which one's my favorite. I don't know if I like Wrath of the Machine more or Vow of the Disciple more. I like both of those raids probably pretty equally. I'd put them up in S tier. At any rate, Wrath of the Machine. For those of you who didn't play Destiny 1, Wrath of the Machine was basically a Fallen themed raid in which Siva was, imbued in a bunch of enemies. If you don't know who Siva is, I'm not going to explain it. Go find a Bife video or something to watch about that. But it had some really, really awesome armor. Oh my gosh, I think the armor was probably some of the best in Destiny 1. And it also had some really, really neat weapons. They were like foundry weapons, like Hake, Suro, stuff like that. But they were imbued with Siva. So they had this like Siva stuff all over them. They were very, very interesting and very cool looking weapons, and they had some really neat perks. For those of y'all who remember Chaos Dogma, the scout rifle that could literally like shoot forever, had triple tap and triple double, which was like every time you procced triple tap you would get another round. So basically every 3 rounds that you hit as a precision shot, you got 2 rounds back, similar to how 4 times a charm / triple tap would work now. But that was kind of the theme with Wrath of the Machine and its weapons. Like, it was, its first perk was a standard perk, and then its second perk was a perk that enhanced the first perk. So it was very cool. I think on Steel Medulla, which was the pulse rifle, it had, I can't remember exactly what it was. I could have looked it up, but I'm not going to because I get too distracted if I pull up Google and start Googling stuff. But yeah, anyways, every perk, like the primary perk was, did whatever basic thing, and then the secondary perk just enhanced the primary perk. So it was a very cool raid. I would love to see it come back with some fresh rolls on some of these weapons. I mean, we had classics in here: Genesis Chain, Steel Medulla, Fever and Remedy, like, Chaos Dogma, all of these weapons. I don't remember any of the special weapons, unfortunately, or the heavy weapons for that matter, but all of these weapons were fantastic, and they looked so very good. Like, they looked absolutely fantastic. That's the main reason why I would like to see it come back, is because the weapons and armor looked great, but also actually playing, I take it back. The main reason I want Wrath of the Machine to come back as a raid is because it was so freaking fun to play. Oh my gosh, like Wrath of the Machine was nutty fun. Okay, like it was a blast. Like, the mechanics in it, I won't spoil too much just in case it is, but the mechanics were fun. It was aesthetically very, very cool, stuff like that. But will we get it? I don't know. In terms of, wanting it versus what we're likely getting, I don't really think we're going to be getting Wrath of the Machine back, and for the simple fact that Siva has no place in Destiny 2. Not only that, but the location where that raid took place was on Earth, and that location is no longer present, I guess, in Destiny 2. But of course, we saw with Kingsfall, they brought back the Dreadnought. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But of course, the other Destiny 1 raid is, of course, Crota's End. And Crota's End was kind of a meme in Destiny 1. It still is a meme in Destiny 1 because Crota's End was the only raid in Destiny's history to be soloable. Completely, like you could solo the entire raid. Like, we saw teams do it. It was absolutely insane. And it was very easy to solo too. Like, you didn't have to do anything special or unique. You didn't have to use, this, that, and the other. Like, almost any class could actually solo Crota, right? Crota's End raid. This one, however, in terms of Destiny 2 raids, or I'm sorry, Destiny 1 raids, I feel like this one is much more likely to be present in Destiny 1. Like I said, like, if we're sticking to the theme of Destiny 1 raids coming back, like, we have one of two options. Crota's End does make more sense. Like, we've seen necromancy amongst the Hive happen time and time again, so it stands to reason that it is potentially likely that we see Crota resurrected, and we have to go in and kill him again. Plus, there was not any new enemies. Like, it was just basic, Hive enemies. I think they had, the sword bears looked a little bit different, but they were just glorified knights, basically. Not like in Wrath of the Machine. We had the corrupted fallen. The Siva Splicer. That's the Splicers. The Splicers fundamentally looked different than all other fallen. Like, they had totally different appendages. They had different color schemes. Like, everything about the fallen Splicers were totally different than the fallen that we have currently in the game. And so I think it would be much easier for Bungie to just bring Crota's End. And we've seen Bungie lately, they're not really interested in working really, really hard to give us something cool. Like, we've seen that, unfortunately. But yeah, I think Crota's End would be the most likely of the two Destiny 1 raids to return to us. Plus, it kind of, like I said, Hive necromancy. We have Savathun still up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen with Savathun. Her ghost is currently MIA. Her body is held by the Vanguard, but her ghost is MIA. So who knows? Are we going to see her ghost try to resurrect Crota? I don't know. Like, it's a big up in the air kind of thing, but I do think that Crota's End is much more likely than Wrath of the Machine to actually happen. But we have 3 Destiny 2 raids that could also potentially be reprised. Now, I want to talk about Destiny 2 raids being reprised, and I don't think it would be a good idea for Bungie to do this, because you took the raids away. You took the weapons and armor that we got away. I guess mostly the weapons. They're all sunset. So I think bringing back a D2 raid, especially if they're going to give it a price, which, based on their track record, again, I would not be surprised if we see that, the potential to pay for this next raid, right? Because they are getting more and more greedy as time goes on. Of course, now that doesn't stand with the routine that they have, which is releasing reprise raids completely for free for everybody. But again, I would not be surprised if they try to monetize it somehow. So if they did a Destiny 2 raid, players would not be happy about it, because you took it out of Destiny 2 and then you just brought it back later. You took away all our roles, blah, blah, blah. Like, we saw, some of the similar stuff happen with, I can't remember, what was it? Several seasons have brought in weapons that we've had in the past, and players are like, are you kidding me? Like, we had these weapons, you sunset them, and then you're just going to bring them back? Very, very frustrating. Destiny 2 raids, kind of the same thing. But the Destiny 2 raids that we could potentially see coming back are, of course, the Leviathan, which has, I want to say it was 3 different raids within the Leviathan. You could, without spoiling, with spoilers here, you could kill Callus, you could kill Argus, and you could kill Valkor, right? And those were 3 different raids. They all took place in the same freaking ship, the Leviathan, but technically they were different raids. That's possibility number 1. Possibility number 2, of course, everybody's beloved Scourge of the Past raid, which was a fallen raid that was present in D2. Very, very unique. Without spoiling it here, it had a really cool setting, and the weapons were absolutely fantastic from that raid. So that's, you know, a possibility of coming back. And then of course we have what is the last one? Crown of Sorrow. Oh my gosh, sorry, I could not remember. Crown of Sorrow. Crown of Sorrow was a Hive themed raid, if I'm not mistaken, Hive / Cabal, and it took place again, no surprise, on Leviathan, but it was not. Yeah. Anyways, look, it took place on Leviathan. Those are the three that we have. We have God, I hate saying three, because we had the Leviathan, we had the Eater of Worlds, and the Spire of Stars, which were three separate raids, but I'm grouping them all into one. So if you wanted to come out and say, hey, we've got three raids technically, they all gave armor that looked the exact same to me. Like, they all gave the same weapons. Like, you know, it wasn't like anything crazy special. Like Scourge of the Past, its own unique thing. Crown of Sorrows was its own unique thing. So that's why I'm grouping it together. But Crown of Sorrows, the Leviathan, any variant, and Scourge of the Past. Which one are we most likely to see? Or which of these would I prefer to see the most? Obviously, Scourge of the Past. I think Scourge of the Past is a fantastic raid. It was different from every other raid before it because it didn't so much focus on mechanics as it did the fun factor. Like, it was a raid you could clear very, very quickly if you had a team that knew what they're doing. If you had a team that you raid with every single week, you could finish it in probably like 20 minutes. Like, it was a super fast raid. But it was very high action, not so much focused on, you know, puzzles and stuff like that. You know, something like Last Wish, heavily puzzle focused, something like that. Scourge of the Past, that was their whole motto when they said they were releasing it. They wanted something that was more focused on combat as opposed to mechanics. So that's what made Scourge of the Past so unique. They also, of course, had Black Armory weapons featured in there, things like No Feelings, Threat Level, I believe it was a shotgun, tempered dynamo, fusion rifle. They had a bunch of fantastic weapons that I would truly like to see come back to Destiny 2. But yeah, that's Scourge of the Past. I think that Scourge of the Past would be I don't know. Scourge of the Past, to me, I don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense. No, I don't know. With the Destiny 2 raids, it's very difficult to say which one would be the most likely to return, right? Because a couple seasons ago we had Callus, you know, and his whole situation on, you know, with the Season of the Haunt. Then, of course, in Lightfall, spoiler warning for the Lightfall campaign if you haven't played it, we killed Callus, or we assume we killed Callus. So Callus is no longer with us. However, with, you know, the Leviathan raid, they could make a twist on it, you know, because basically, again, spoiler warning, sorry, but if you played the Leviathan back in early Destiny 2, you killed Callus at the end, but it turned out it wasn't Callus, which is a freaking robot of Callus, and he had like 1 billion of them. So it could make sense to stand that one would come back because, hey, like, you know, Callus has got all these robots we can just kill over and over and over again. Scourge of the Past, again, like its setting took place in a very particular area where it just doesn't make sense currently, but it could make sense currently without the protective shield of the Traveler. I'll just say that it stands to reason that it could potentially happen. I think the only one that doesn't really make sense to come back is Crown of Sorrow. Crown of Sorrow was just, to me, felt like a really off raid. Like, it was, you know, this, like I said, Hive / Cabal themed thing where a Cabal was corrupted by Crown of Sorrows, blah, blah, blah. Now, Crown of Sorrows is, of course, still relevant in the lore today. So, you know, it stands to believe that could potentially happen as well. Like, from a lore perspective, all three could make sense. Which one is most likely, though? I don't know why, but I feel like Leviathan is just going to make a comeback. Like, I don't know why Destiny is, you know, or Bungie, sorry. Bungie seemed very, very attached to the Leviathan raid. I mean, we had several seasons and several years where they just, here's Leviathan, or no, several seasons, I guess, because it came out in 2017, and all throughout 2017, it was, hey, here's another raid in the same location. Hey, here's another raid in the same location. They really liked the Leviathan as a raid setting. I wouldn't be surprised if we get that back. Scourge of the Past, I think, would be the next most likely to return from the Destiny 2 raids. Again, it just, players really like that raid. They really liked the armor and the weapons and stuff that you could get from it. Bungie kind of needs a emergency, oh shit, like, we got to pull something quick here because we're losing players. And, you know, people like True Vanguard, you know, True Vanguard just just told everybody that he's stepping away from Destiny. Like, that's a huge deal. You know, how many other YouTubers are going to follow suit? Like, Bungie needs a card up their sleeve, and I think Scourge of the Past could be the one that they bring back. You know, that would make sense from a lore perspective, as well as, you know, it was already in D2, so it probably wouldn't be difficult to bring back. You wouldn't have to remake it, blah, blah, blah. Crown of Sorrows makes the least sense to me. I don't see Crown of Sorrows returning next season. Maybe in the future one day we get it. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on those raids, returning raids. I think the most likely one we are going to see is either going to be Crota's End or the Leviathan, or Scourge of the Past. One of those three, I think, are the most likely that we see, with Crota's End kind of sitting at the top right now, just you know, with the lore that we've got of this season, with, you know, everything that's kind of going on in deep story, so to speak. Not Season of the Deep Story, but, you know, like extended lore, stuff like that, like stuff you have to watch buy videos for. It makes sense that Crota's End would be the one that returns. Of course, though, I would like to believe that Wrath of the Machine would come back, because Wrath of the Machine was the greatest raid in Destiny. Don't quote me on that, because Vow of the Disciple was also the greatest raid in Destiny. Vow of the Disciple was the greatest Destiny 2 raid. Wrath of the Machine was the greatest Destiny 1 raid. Okay, there, I've said my piece. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts in the comments, though. Again, spoilers are not spoilers. I'm sorry. Leaks have leaked. Literally, I think I've seen a leak, sorry, for every single raid. Oh, it was leaked that, you know, Crota's come back. Oh, it's leaked that Leviathan's come back. Oh, it's leaked that Scourge of the Past, that Wrath of the Machine. Like, I've seen a leak for every single raid. So if you go in there and say, oh, it's been leaked, I don't believe it. Okay. Like, until Bungie confirms, or we have a very, very credible source, like, who is it? I believe I think it's Paul Tassi, right? Paul Tassi, I don't remember who it is, but I know there's somebody who's been on point with every single leak. Unfortunately, I haven't heard of any leaks from that person, so I don't know. Take leaks with a grain of salt, okay? But tell me what you think it's going to be. Tell me what you hope it's going to be. Tell me what you're going to be most upset about if it is. You know, if it's Leviathan, is that going to be the one that you're most upset comes back? Like, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, if you liked the video, drop a like, because it helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, because we do this stuff every single day. And do me a favor, watch the video you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you will like it, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.